What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
Oh, ahoy.
I'm good.
Welcome back. This is episode number 136, folks. And it is Make Marvin Watch Day for the month of June. This was my pick today. I thought, considering 28 years later is currently in theaters, getting quite a bit of praise. Some people are saying it's the best movie of the year, even over Sinners. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But of course, Marvin hadn't seen the original 28 Days Later. So
Naturally.
I had to make him watch that this month.
Yeah.
And an argument could be made that 28 Days Later is the best zombie film ever made, but
actually bumped Indiana Jones to watch this one.
We did, yeah.
Wild in and of itself.
Yeah. But I look forward to hearing what Marvin thought about 28 Days Later. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the episode. But how was your week, gentlemen?
Didn't do too much. I haven't been watching anything still. Just reading books.
Nice. You gotta nourish the brain a little bit sometimes with words, the written word. I don't, but it's good to do.
You should do it. It's good.
I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the lines, I just developed a hatred for reading. I don't know. I get very distracted. Maybe I have ADHD that wasn't diagnosed as a kid, but I just get very I get easily distracted by other things that I could be doing other than reading. I have to really get into a groove of reading.
Yeah.
I have to read in my bed without distractions. I think that's probably the key. If I sit at my desk and do it with two monitors blaring on me, and it's no good.
Yeah.
Temptations
I read before
great.
bed, and just throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key. You got to find little quiet moments. Maybe I'll start doing that. I gotta read some stuff. What you should read, Marvin. I don't know if you're still doing your comic book experimenting that you were doing for a little bit, but you should read All-Star Superman before the Superman movie comes out next month.
I still have that in my list of things.
Yeah, that'd be a good read.
No, I haven't been reading comics. I've been reading
good old-fashioned books.
Real books, not that fake shit.
Not that kid shit. Nice. What have you been up to, Dusty?
Not a whole lot. Really, just watching the same stuff. Was it Resident Alien?
Yeah.
Haven't watched this week's episode, but we started it. Need to finish it.
I did actually.
Department Q was pretty good. It was all right.
Department Q?
Yeah, it's the British cop show about the.
Oh, right. You mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Link, that was still funny. Still good. Still watching that. But other than that, not a whole lot.
I actually did catch
up.
I
went and saw the live action Lilo and Stitch. Did go see that. It was good.
Oh, yeah. That's getting good reviews, huh?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking I Had to Train Your Dragon?
Well, that just came out, so I don't know how that one's doing, but I think it's beating Elio. That also just came out, but Lilo and Stitch, did good.
I haven't even seen the animated one.
Oh wow! How about you, Marvin? You seen Lilo and Stitch?
I've seen Lilo and Stitch. I mean, it's been a very long time.
It takes a lot for me to watch an animation these days. I don't know why. Especially a kid's one. But well, that's cool. I actually did catch up on Resident Alien. Episode 2 was fucking hilarious, specifically.
Yeah.
That show is so good. I'm glad it's been well received enough to get 4 seasons and maybe more now, because there was no announcement that this is the final season or whatever. And it moved now. It's on simultaneously on Sci-Fi and USA, I think.
Oh, wow.
USA being a bigger network, so it seems like that show has some good popularity. It's so bizarre, though, seeing how people in TV shows age, or how their looks change from season to season, particularly kids. But I've noticed it a lot in this show. I think this show started probably during COVID. So some of the production jumps were pretty long, but now we're starting
the
to
strikes too.
Yeah, now we're starting to see shows getting pumped out more traditionally. Like this is pretty quick release from last season, which is nice. But the kids in this show look completely different than they did last season. It's actually funny. They're like fully grown ass people. It's gonna be really wild to see what they all look like in Stranger Things, because now they're all like in their fucking 20s and shit in real life. You know, she's fucking married to like Bon Jovi's kid. It's gonna be weird.
Ooh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You always notice it with kids, the production jumps. They just like become like full grown ass human beings after like a season. It's wild. You mentioned that we were supposed to watch Indiana Jones this week. So for the folks at home who maybe missed last episode, we talked about the latest Apple TV movie, Fountain of Youth. Feel free to go check that out after this. That was a pretty funny, I think, conversation. But that movie kind of put me in the mood to watch like an actual good treasure hunting movie. So a few nights this week, I ended up watching both National Treasure movies, the first and the second one. Just such good movies. The second one's like not as good. It's like significantly worse, in fact, but it's still decent. And then I was going to maybe start the show on Disney Plus, but I put that on hold for now because you said it was okay, but it got like shit on IMDb. So I was like, maybe I'll hold off on that for now. But
I forgot about this show.
Yeah, me too. I remember we were like kind of excited about it, but a lot of the reviews say it's like nothing like the movies. And I think Dusty even probably said that.
It's not, yeah.
But you said it's like entertaining enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, besides the cliffhanger-ish ending, yeah, I guess it's...
Listen.
But yeah, it's good.
Nothing is worse than the cliffhanger of the Constantine show that was on WB, so I'm okay.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I could deal with the cliffhanger that's never gonna get paid off. Except for the one from National Treasure 2, which is what's on page 47 of the President's book. Like, the world needs to know. Please make a National Treasure 3. But last night I was going to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is what we were going to make Marvin watch this month. But I realized I hadn't watched Dial of Destiny yet. In fact, I completely forgot that movie existed.
Wow.
Until I searched Indiana Jones on Kodi. I was like, Dial of Destiny. I was like, I totally fucking forgot about that movie because I just remember when it came out, like I just was completely disinterested. So I watched that last night.
Because Harrison Ford is 86 or whatever.
He's 80, but yeah. No, it was just like, no, really, that's probably the main reason. I was just like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, we talk about it all the time, like just squeezing the life out of like these old properties that they're never going to get better than they were, and they're almost always going to be bad. So it's like you're just ruining the legacy of the thing that everybody loves. And so I just remember when it came out, I was just like, I just totally don't give a fuck. Because the one before this, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that one was like pretty bad, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and Kate Blanchett was in that. I think she was the villain. But anyway, I watched Dial of Destiny last night. You saw it, Dusty?
What, Dial of Destiny?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen all the Indiana Jones movies.
What did you think of Dial of Destiny?
I don't know why they keep... It was good after 3. It didn't need a 4th one, didn't need a 5th one.
Correct.
But
I didn't think Dial of Destiny was that... It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like amazing either. It was like entertaining enough.
It just didn't need to be made.
That's not good enough for me anymore.
Yeah.
Too much shit to watch something that's just good enough.
No, I agree totally. Like, so I don't know why they did this. Like, I thought the movie would have been way better, had they like excluded the first 30 minutes. There's like 30 minutes of setup, Marvin, about like it's introducing this treasure that this movie is focused on, the Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And the first half hour of the movie is de-aged Harrison Ford doing this like thing, this like adventure where he discovers it initially. But the de-aging CGI was like really goofy looking. It looked pretty bad. It looked like a video game. Like it looked like a video game like animation. And that really took me the fuck out of it. And then the movie fast forwards to like his present day, which this movie takes place in 1969 after the moon landing. and he's fucking 80-year-old Harrison Ford. But the funny thing was is they de-aged him, but his voice didn't change. So he sounds like an 80-year-old behind the face of like,
stupid.
Yeah. And for James Mangold, I was like pretty surprised because he's like one of the better filmmakers out there. And I was like, I can't believe he decided to use this. And the movie had like a lot of reliance on CGI, which I thought was bad. Like, because it takes place in 1969. A lot of the movie takes place in New York City.
Yeah.
And they just CGI'd all the buildings and backdrops and shit. So it just looks like super fake. I was like, what the like, why are we doing this?
Crystal Skull was better.
Was it actually? That's crazy. So I'll have to watch Crystal Skull tonight because I haven't seen it since it came out, to be honest. Crystal Skull came out
I did not have high views of Crystal Skull, but it was better than this one. I don't know why they made this one.
I think Crystal Skull came out when I was fucking like right out of high school. So around 2004. 2000. When did this movie come out? 2008. Okay, so I was right. It was a couple years. This has a worse rating, but I remember this one being like really bad because it also overused CGI. But at least back then, CGI was fairly new, so like people were starting to play with it more.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't as good. Like Beverly Hills Cop, there was kind of, it felt like that. It was a goodbye to all the old actors that are going to show up one more time. It was kind of like a farewell tour, Indiana Jones. It just felt weird. Yeah,
no, for sure.
It's not a good franchise unless they ruin it with a fucking shitty sequel that no one asked for.
They're apparently making another, oh my God, what's the buddy cop movie? Martin Riggs and I'm too old for this shit. Lethal Weapon. They're making another Lethal Weapon, I guess. They're getting back together. Riggs and Murtaugh are getting back together one more time, which is insane.
When money is the bottom line, of course you want to milk very popular franchises. But like something like Indiana Jones, like you can't make an Indiana Jones movie without Indiana Jones. And you can't make an Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford. Like you just can't recast him. You can't do that. So it's either you do this, which is not fantastic, or you just stop making them and you do something new, like Fountain of Youth, but like better than Fountain of Youth. You know what I mean? But that said, I didn't think this was that bad. It was pretty, I don't know. I thought the adventure portion of it was like pretty cool. Like the treasure was like interesting enough. I thought it was ridiculous that at the end, spoilers, Marvin, they go back in time to like 200 BC or some shit. Like that was Indiana Jones. Cool. Well, Indiana Jones always plays with like fantastical elements. Yeah. It's like grounded in realism until it's not. And that's fine. It's kind of like Uncharted. Sure. If you've ever played Uncharted. How like,
nope.
Oh, okay. God, Marvin. We need a second podcast. This is crazy. No, so I don't know. It was all right. It just wasn't. I'll never watch it again. Like, if you're gonna watch it, if I'm in the mood for an adventure movie, like I'm watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, Temple of Doom. Got to be in the mood for that one.
Yeah.
But that's all I watched this week. The de-aging thing.
I did watch some other stuff. I forgot.
Yeah.
I watched The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You've been having movie nights with Ben. How come I'm not invited to any of those?
You are. You just don't pop up.
You never fucking weird. Say hi. Hey, Dan, watch the movie.
Us.
No, I see you after the fact. I can't jump in mid-movie. Come on, that's fucked up. What do you think this is?
Gentleman was pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit, actually.
Was it your idea to watch it?
Yeah, because
I know we mentioned it on the
there was nothing to play. Yeah, it was just more so. It was just on my list. It was one of the first things shown on my list.
Gotcha.
And there was no game to play, so we just decided to watch a movie instead.
Cool. How come he's been streaming it?
He has Discord Nitro.
Oh, you got him on that tech too?
Got them bits.
Yeah.
Got him on that good shit?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
So you like The Gentleman?
I thought it was really good. Yeah. It was
that movie is more
the
more
exposition was better. So like
yeah.
What's his name?
Guy Ritchie.
No.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey?
That was Guy Ritchie. Not the guy that was in Heretic. I can't think of his name.
Not sure. Charlie Hunnam? No.
Nope. It is
Jeremy Strong.
Where is it? No, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
I didn't even remember the movie Heretic because I hated it so much. I was just fucking like rolling off the cast members until you said yes. I forgot about that.
No, it just made me think about that because of all the exposition in that movie. But it was a lot better in this movie.
But that's what Dusty and I have tried to convey to you when we watch Guy Ritchie movies. That's like his style is thick exposition, but in funny, playful banter. Like that's kind of how it is. But the movies that we've made you watch so far, like, well, we didn't make you watch Ministry. We all watched that. But that Fountain of Youth, like they're like departures from his strengths. This movie is more indicative of it.
Yeah, no, this was really good.
You
I
should watch
thought the exposition was good. The way that it was like in your face, but it also was super open ended because of how he was kind of putting his whole story or how he thought everything went down together. Yeah. And then there was still some stuff at the end that happened, that was outside of that story that he was telling. So yeah, it was well done. Good.
I'm glad you liked it. You should watch the show. The show is really good. It was only one season so far, but really, really good. You saw the show, right?
Oh, and I watched Baby Driver too.
I have not watched the show yet. No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, damn! You guys both got to get on that. That shit was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Baby Driver, excellent movie. Edgar Wright. What'd you think of that one?
It was a good watch. Definitely not as strong as The Gentleman. But it was a good watch. It wasn't that much to it. I mean.
No,
it was just one of Ben's favorites.
Oh, okay.
And I had never seen it, so he's kind of he's stepping on you guys' toes a little bit with some of these movies. You might have to go break some legs.
We got to invite him on the podcast one of these days. He just has to promise to talk loud. He's a quiet speaker.
It was a good watch. It wasn't that deep or anything though. So.
No, it's not. But it's a very good.
But
movie.
It was a good watch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun little heist movie.
I was wondering what had made you watch that one.
Yeah, that was one of his favorites. I watched Tombstone with him too. That was weeks back.
Yeah, he had recommended that a long time ago for us to watch, and I just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright's got the Running Man remake coming out soon with Glenn Powell. That one should be interesting. I wonder how that's going to be. I think Edgar Wright. I love Edgar Wright.
Running Man.
Yeah, Running Man.
Dance?
No, like the.
Apparently got the Schwarzenegger thumb of approval too.
Running Man is a Arnold Schwarzenegger classic from 1987.
Oh yeah, that's
there was a video game about it too.
Based on a Stephen King story.
Only Running Man I know is The Dance.
I don't even know what that is.
You gotta look it up. It's great.
Let's see.
Classic.
What the fuck? Running Man Dance.
You'll know it when you see it. Yeah, click that first one, the black dude with the yellow shirt.
Oh, shit. This guy?
Right there. That's short. It's at the bottom left.
This guy.
Yeah. Skip to like halfway. Maybe a little more. Oh, there you go.
Oh, I know this dance. Okay.
You've seen this. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
The Running Man. See?
That's funny. We got a lot of news to cover this week. Why don't we jump into some news? Folks, Dusty used to be a newsman. He worked in video game journalism, and now he covers entertainment news for us here on the podcast. What you got this week, Dusty?
My first piece of news is that Bernthal is back on the MCU big screen.
Hell yeah, it's not back. He is on it. He was never there. He's there for the first time.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, well, yeah, in the MCU. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, no, he's never been on the big screen. He's been in the shows.
Yeah. In the MCU, yeah.
He hasn't been in a feature film yet.
Correct, yeah. He joins Spiderman Brand New Day.
Yeah.
There's just an interesting side note I want to point out. Tom Holland, recently saw this piece of news. He was cast 10 years ago for this.
Bernthal was.
For this. No. Tom Holland was 10 years ago cast
as Spider-Man
for the Spider-Man role.
Yeah,
and we're coming up on the 4th movie now?
Yes. Well, yeah,
Okay.
4th solo movie. Yeah, technically.
All right.
And none of them have been solo movies.
Mahershala Ali was cast 6 years ago.
Hasn't been in a single movie.
Yeah,
well,
got a voice cameo.
We got his voice.
A voice cameo.
Yeah.
So that's kind
of
sad.
His voice.
Yeah, he was. So Blade was in the stinger at the end of the Eternals.
Oh, that's cool.
In the Eternals, there's a character, the Black Knight, who's in it, and he uses a sword. It's called the Necro Sword, I believe, or unless I'm confusing it with the other black sword, I can't remember. But he
it's the same sword, yeah.
No, there's two in the comics. There's two different ones. But anyway, he opens it, and then you hear a voice behind him, and it's Mahershala Ali being like, "I don't even know, you ready for this?" or some dumb shit. I don't remember what he says.
Yeah,
but it was alluding to the fact that they were setting up the Midnight Suns, which we talked about a few episodes ago. The Midnight Suns are like the Avengers, basically, but for like the mystical, like magical side of the Marvel universe, like dealing with like hell and monsters and vampires and like all that shit. That's where you would get Blade and fucking Ghost Rider, and Doctor Strange would fit in well to that. Mephisto, where all the fucking rumors about that had come out. So, you know, that's what they were shooting towards, but who knows what happened. But this is exciting. I think Jon Bernthal, there haven't been many who have done it, but he is by far the best to portray Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, thus far.
The first Punisher movie was good.
Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane. You're talking about?
Yeah, Thomas Jane.
The movie was great, but I think Jon Bernthal is a better Punisher. Like he I
agree with you. I just think I think Thomas Jane nailed it too. But yeah.
No, he did. I love that movie. That's like one of my favorite.
You're going to try to get me to say that, you know, Tom Holland is a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire. It will never happen. They both had great performances. But
well, this is exciting. This is the first television crossover, I think, onto the big screen at this point. We haven't had one of the TV characters crossover onto a feature film yet. So this is cool. I wonder how he's going to fit in. I think they're going to be. I'm hoping to God, if he or she exists, we're going to get like a Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher team up against Kingpin. That's what it seemed like Daredevil was leading towards Born Again. So hopefully we get that, because
how is this going to work? Isn't Punisher just going to just fucking shoot the shit out of him?
There's been like a million.
Shoot him 47 times.
There's been a million memes.
Movie's over.
There's been a million memes online about like what it's going to look like when Punisher just shoots somebody in front of Spider-Man. Because that's like his.
It's going to be crazy.
But that's why he's an interesting character in the Marvel universe. It's like he's doing what he thinks is necessary. He doesn't think these heroes go far enough, and that law has failed. The system has failed. Like, this is the only option. And it's just an interesting dynamic.
People don't deserve to live.
It's an interesting dynamic to have with like actual heroes. So yeah, this will be cool. I hope the movie's good though. I don't know. I've been hearing, you know, supposedly it's like a multiverse thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't really give a fuck about that. Daniel Destin.
Multiverse, more of that shit.
Yeah. Destin Daniel Cretton is directing it. He directed the Shang-Chi movie. So
haven't seen that either.
It's in good hands, I think. But yeah. This was good news. We'll see. Sadie Sink.
Apparently, the duo were working on their 2017 feature Pilgrimage when prepping for their auditions. They actually helped each other audition for their Marvel roles. So Bernthal and Holland, you know, one was going to TV, one was going to movie, but they actually helped each other get their jobs, which I thought was funny.
Nice.
But just to backtrack real quick to the Mahershala Ali story and the Blade. Apparently, it was reported that David Goyer actually called Marvel and is like, "Hey, you guys want some help?"
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, and they were like, "Oh no, we think we got it cracked now. We love you so much, but thanks." So
yeah, Martha was great in Batman v Superman, but we're good, thank you.
Yeah. Anyhow.
To be fair to Goyer, he did write the original Blade movies, and they're all very good.
The
Except
Blade
for the third
trilogy,
one, really.
yeah. He's got some good
He's got some good movies
under his belt.
He does, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, he does for sure. But
All
then
right,
he did Batman v Superman, so.
Yeah. Next up, we got Netflix Houses.
Oh,
unless you want to talk about this James Gunn stuff real quick.
Nope, I'm just clicked on the wrong thing.
Okay.
Netflix Houses.
Yeah, making a run at brick and mortar entertainment, which is wild because Netflix has always been like, that theater experience isn't all that great. You know, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
But I thought,
yeah.
I thought they were doing this. I thought they were planning this like years ago. I remember us talking about Netflix theaters might be coming around.
I don't know. These are theme parks with no rides. Yeah, just experiences.
Do I have a lawsuit on my hands?
Yeah,
I mean, this
is
could be a
major shareholder after this is all said and done.
I might have to
it's going to ruin your Blockbuster idea if these big name stores start creating these kind of events.
Bro, I'll bring back if I'm a shareholder, I'm bringing back fucking physical rentals from Netflix. Watch.
All right. But the first two they're planning this year, one is in the King of Prussia Mall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the other one is the Galleria Dallas in Texas. These are coming in late 2025. A third location is planned for Las Vegas in 2027. The Philly location will launch with rooms inspired by Wednesday and One Piece, while the Dallas location is going with Stranger Things and Squid Games. Dallas will also have something called Netflix Replay, which is billed as better than an arcade. Philly gets a mini golf course, a VR game room, and the Tudum Theater, where you can catch Netflix shows, movies, and fan events on the big screen with all your friends, as well as nights, dine-ins, and special talent appearance. So, Netflix Houses.
That's interesting.
It does seem pretty cool.
How much are they?
It's like a little Universal Studios mini experience, except it's a Netflix house, and it's at a mall near you. Well, maybe soon.
How much are they investing into this?
I don't know. Actually, I didn't. They're trialing these first three, I believe, and they're going to see how they do before they start opening up in other malls. But if it does well, I'd imagine if they can get people to at least come to their Tudum, like release events to get their experience on, and maybe rent out the theaters for businesses that are doing local, how theaters do. They're trying to take away little small theater business money.
Yeah.
It says it's more than 100,000 square feet. So, I mean, that's
it's a big
investment.
It's like an indoor amusement park, essentially.
Yeah.
Catch Netflix shows, movies, and golf and fan events on the big screen with all your friends. Like, I don't know. Maybe this would be cool. Maybe it sounds like a Dave and Buster's, but just like a Netflix-centric Dave and Buster's.
No, it sounds more than that. It sounds more like I think you said it's more like the Disney, like it's like an actual, it's like a
Universal Studios or Warner Brothers lot visit, except you can get to see the set and experience an event. It's like going to one of those, what do you call them? Lock-in rooms or whatever.
Escape room. Well, let's ask this question.
Yeah.
Now, how much do you think this will increase the subscription price of Netflix? 40, 50
They probably will
bucks?
offer like a special one for people that want to go frequently.
Yeah.
Like instead of $20, you pay like $50 or something. I don't know.
Right. Are they going to give discounts to members? Like, hey, come on down to the Netflix house and you can get a free event, or
it would be such a miss if they don't, but
let's see. Netflix houses.
All right.
They need to serve food based on all their shows, like their original content, food based on it. That would be pretty cool.
How would that be?
Yeah, like I don't know, some Stranger Things inspired food, some fucking.
Oh yeah, what's his name? The golfer from Happy Gilmore. He posted an image like Netflix made a box of pieces of shit.
Oh yeah, they did do
breakfast.
That. Yeah, that is actually funny
for Happy Gilmore.
So good.
Yeah, so yeah,
they would have
to get pieces of shit for breakfast.
They have so much content there. They can make.
No, they can.
Make fucking a lot of shit.
They can.
I can't think of all the originals right now, but I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not buying another subscription to Netflix for this shit, but so I mean,
it's probably open to the public too.
Probably,
I would imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Have to wait till one opens up. All right. Well, we were talking about reboots and remakes and stuff. We're probably going to get some more content.
What are we getting? Hit me.
That we may not want. Alcon Media Group has won its $417 million bid to acquire the film library of Village Roadshow Entertainment. The deal nets in the entire library of intellectual property, distribution rights, and cash flows, which covers 108 films. Some of these films were done with WB, so includes movies like Mad Max Fury Road, Ocean's 11 series, The Matrix trilogy, Joker, Ready Player One, Sherlock Holmes, and Wonka. So,
talking about Guy Ritchie, the Sherlock Holmes movies are great.
They are.
If you want good, like, adventure sort of
they're like
adjacent
miniseries
movies,
almost.
they're very good. Yeah, they're with
each season is like a miniseries of movies.
No.
Movies.
I'm not talking about the show with Cumberbatch. I'm talking about the movies with Robert Downey Jr. that were directed by Guy Ritchie.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I always heard good things about them.
They're pretty good. Yeah, the show is fantastic though. If you like Luther, that show the Sherlock show is very, very good.
Yeah, with
really?
Benny.
It's not as dark as Luther, but it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is interesting. So
apparently a source at Warner Brothers said the distribution rights to the films in the library will continue to be owned by the studio, and they will retain a right to co-finance derivative works. So even though Alcon has one of the largest independent media libraries in the world now, some of those things they'll have to do with Warner Brothers still.
So,
this is all a result of Warner Brothers getting in that lawsuit with Village Roadshow. Village Roadshow sued them because they released the Matrix movie online at the same time it hit theaters. Warner Brothers won the lawsuit, and Village Roadshow caved. So Alcon got to buy all the properties.
Gotcha.
So that's what happened here.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, apparently they own a lot of good properties. So
IP, yeah. So we're gonna be seeing some Matrix reboots, guys.
I'm
and
sure.
Some more Jokers, and they're gonna ride
I still haven't watched Matrix 4 or whatever the fuck it's called.
No, I've never watched
Resurrections.
it. I heard it was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't watch it.
Real quick, since we're talking about sequels and reboots, a movie that we watched not too long ago, When Evil Lurks, is apparently getting a sequel, according to Bloody Disgusting. You guys remember that one?
I do remember that. I wish it would be a prequel, actually, because I'm more interested in how they got to where they were.
Yeah.
That was the more interesting part, the lore. So, I mean, maybe we can get more background with this, so that's cool.
Yeah, Demian Rugna said a sequel is in development. So, I don't know. That's not one of those type of movies that I think needs a sequel, but I don't know. That's
not
cool.
Really, but
no, I actually
good lore.
I enjoyed that movie quite a bit up until the end.
Not the best ending, but
the ending I think bothered all of us. But
the whole like
how the evil passes and
it was like evil manifesting as a sickness.
Yeah, it was almost like a disease.
Infecting. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was a cool movie. So that's interesting. I'd be excited to see a sequel for that. Not excited is a stretch, but I'd be interested to see a sequel for that.
Yeah.
All right. What else we working with, Dusty?
All right. Well, speaking of buying shit, Sony is actually considering a purchase of newly announced WBD streaming and studios company, which is completing its separation from WBD Global right now. We talked about that. They should be done with the split by mid-2026. Sony is interested in acquiring WBD's HBO Max streaming service, IPs, and its gaming assets. Sony and Warner Brothers were working together to build a joint movie studio in Las Vegas this year. According to the Variety, the proposal for the 31 acres facility ended on June 3rd after Nevada State Senate rejected the $100 million tax subsidy. So they wanted to go into business together. It didn't work out. So Sony just kind of wants to buy their stuff now that they're splitting up. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Zaslav is the CEO of the part that Sony wants to buy. It's unclear what his position will be if they enter into some sort of negotiations. But yeah, Sony wants Max.
Sony wants to ruin more shit. So let them. Yeah, sure, let them. It's crazy how much just like it's the amount of money that is just being loosely thrown around for different things. Like any of these companies could, like, I don't know, end homelessness or something productive. It's just kind of crazy to think about. Not that they should be doing that or have any obligation to do that. It's just like, you know, they're just playing. It's like Monopoly money. It's kind of crazy.
It is. Yeah.
It's like playing Monopoly. It's like, hey, I'll give you this amount for that for Park Place. Like, it's just weird.
Right.
But yeah, I get it.
Filming this, I saw this headline and I was like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" Because it was Mr. Boyle talking about
Danny Boyle. Yep.
How all the nude scenes in the film had to be done with prosthetics because of child labor laws. So I was like, what the fuck kind of headline is that?
Interesting.
I was like, do we got naked children zombies, or do we have naked adults who are covering up because there's children on the set? And it turns out it's the latter. He said, if you've been infected for a long time, the clothes would just disintegrate with the way that you behave, because there was your 12-year-old boy on set. You're not allowed for anybody to be naked, not really naked. So they look naked, but it's all prosthetics. Yep. He called it a nightmare to learn about these restrictions after filming had already started. Apparently, an intimacy coordinator explained that having real nudity on set with a minor would break the Child Sex Offense Act. So they had to... put prosthetics on everybody. And apparently they're talking about it because the prosthetics on one of the guys is fairly large.
Are we talking about the one on Cillian Murphy in the beginning when he wakes up in the hospital? Because that was a huge dick. That's funny.
I know this is for 28 years later.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yes.
So that was Cillian Murphy's real dick? Damn. Good for him.
Hey, we have good days.
We have good days.
Ever had a good day?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I had good days and bad days. Let me tell you.
That's fair. We all do.
Sometimes I look like, man, I might as well not even have a dick.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's cold. The old George Costanza getting out of the pool scene. It's a classic. But the 28 Years Later movie is, they hope to turn it into a trilogy. I think they've already started on the second one. And if these two do well, they will make a trilogy out of it. I think
well, it's doing well.
Andrew McDonald said during Edinburgh. So, yeah.
How do you make the trilogy, the third movie, which should be the trilogy, into another trilogy?
Yep. I know.
I mean, that's kind of what they did at the end of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Except I
don't know how much money it's making, but it's definitely making a lot of money. So they're definitely going to go ahead and make another one at least. But in line with that piece, Alex Garland, who we've covered here with Civil War, and we're watching Warfare later this month, or later in the schedule. He co-wrote 28. Oh, he wrote 28 Years Later, but he also wrote 28 Days Later. He recently was announced to be doing the Elden Ring movie, which I believe we talked about here on the show.
We did.
But we also complain that video game movies get made by people who have never played the game. But that is not the case for Alex Garland. He recently did an interview where he said that he is on his 7th playthrough, apparently. And in this interview here, he's talking about a certain boss that I guess he...
Oh, yeah, that's like...
is like a memorable boss or something like that. Yeah. So...
Dusty would know, I think. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's the falling star boss on the island past the castle. Yeah, that's a down south boss, I believe.
Yeah.
Great game, though. Yeah, I played through it like 5 times, I want to say, with my Concho.
Damn.
Yeah, so the fact that he's played through it 7 times is kind of promising that maybe this could be one of the first good video game movies we've ever gotten.
There's so many different ways to play it. It's fun.
Yeah. So that's cool. But all right. Thank you for the news, Dusty. Once again, we appreciate your hard work. let's get into this week's review, folks. Once a month, Dusty and I take turns picking a movie that Marvin should see that he hasn't seen, and there's a lot of them. This month, as I mentioned earlier, coinciding with the release of 28 Years Later in theaters, I decided to make him watch 28 Days Later. A strong case could be made that 28 Days Later is the greatest zombie movie of all time. Marvin's never seen it, so we made him watch it. Let's see if he agrees or completely disagrees. So 28 Days Later is in the pantheon of great zombie films. Again, possibly the best ever because it literally changed the zombie genre forever. This movie said, nah, they don't have to fucking stumble. They could sprint. And it kind of blew people's minds at the time. This came out in 2002. And pre-2002, most zombie movies followed that George Romero style of like slow, rotting, just kind of fucking relentlessly shambling along until they become too overwhelming. Yeah. But Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, they introduced this concept of like rage-infected humans that are fast and violent and feral. And it flipped the genre from sort of like just existential dread to like adrenaline-fueled like panic survival. And it inspired like huge tonal shifts in the genre. In fact, Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead in 2004 kind of followed this style. World War Z, Zombieland, The Last of Us, like the list goes on of pretty much every zombie movie post 2000 after 2002.
And shows too.
And Walking shows Dead. Too. Well, Walking Dead, it doesn't really, they kind of dialed it back to more of the Romero style, but
they have both.
It does have both, yeah. Speaking of which, I was blown away this week. I saw an actual commercial on TV. One of the rare moments I was watching like actual cable TV. And I saw this ad that was it was a commercial. It was literally a sizzle reel of all the Walking Dead spinoffs that you could watch. It's like Walking Dead.
It's insane, bro.
New Dawn, Walking Dead Negan, Walking Dead Daryl. I was like, I cannot believe this show is still going on. It was crazy. But anyway. I can't believe it, yeah. But yeah, so 28 Days Later changed the game for every zombie movie that came after it. And so for that reason and many others that I'm sure we're going to discuss, I think it's probably the best zombie film ever made. Marvin, what'd you think about it your first time watching it?
First time, yes. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I felt that the like atmosphere of the movie was great.
Oh, yeah.
Like with the empty London scenes, and the cinematography was fantastic.
Yep.
And like that digital video really enhanced like the whole feel of the movie too.
I was curious if you were going to run into that in any way, because it's actually tough to watch on like a modern TV. It looks like you're watching a YouTube video from like 2008.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, 28 Days Later, it seems low budget because it's a combination of things. They used a digital video camera, like it was not a professional. It was like just a what is a
camcorder or some shit?
A consumer grade digital camera from back in the 2000s. Is the Canon XL1, and they were just standard definition. And
that's crazy.
It made the movie look grainy and less polished back then, which was meant they wanted that. They wanted it to look more real and immediate. But now watching it on a modern TV, it doesn't scale well, so it looks even worse than it did back then. So
yeah, I felt like I was watching X-Files, some of those shitty X-Files shots that they have.
I was just curious. I was wondering if you were gonna kind of run into that a little bit, but I'm glad that you were able to look past it and not be a normie.
It was good.
All right, so
it didn't bother me at all. Sorry, what'd you say?
I was saying, what else? I cut you off when you were talking about how you liked about it.
Oh, no. I loved a lot of things about this. I love that they weren't afraid to kill off the main folks throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love so the intro, like this waking up in the hospital thing. So did The Walking Dead steal that from this, or is that just kind of a trope that everyone uses, or do we know if that happened in other zombie movies before?
I would say The Walking Dead stole it from this, because the opening of this movie is probably one of the most iconic openings, like I would say maybe in movie history, not just in horror movies or zombie movies. Like opening up to just seeing like the streets of London being completely empty is insane. And there's production stories about like what they had to do to pull that off, and it's just.
I was curious. Well, I looked up the budget. The budget of this movie was like $8 million.
Yeah,
which I don't know if that's a lot or not for the time this came out, like 2002.
No, it's considered like pretty low budget.
Okay, so low budget. So I was curious, like, how did you guys get everything to be so fucking empty for this movie? It was like, it feels like you have to have a higher budget or be able to pull some strings or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but it was good.
What they actually did was they filmed in multiple locations throughout the United Kingdom, and they filmed for like pretty brief periods during like early mornings, and then sometimes they temporarily closed streets so they could capture like some of the more recognizable and like usual busy areas when they were deserted.
Like the river and the Big Ben area and all that.
Yep. Yeah. So that like the way the movie opens is just unbelievable. It's just like, it really is just like, oh fuck. Like this is.
Yeah, just to clarify, I said opening, but I guess it's technically not the opening because the opening is the monkeys and shit, right?
Well, yeah, sure. But the actual, that's just a little bit of like intro, exposition.
It's always the monkeys.
It's always the monkeys,
Mm-hmm. Every time.
You can just stop fucking with monkeys. Let them just be.
And it actually is, I was laughing at that a little bit just because their intention was to save the monkeys, and then they ended up killing them. The one guy was like bashing the monkey's head in anyway to try to save his friend. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Like, dude.
What about you, Dusty?
Yeah. The irony was thick in that open. This is a great zombie flick. Like you said, it's up there as one of the best, if not the best. And Marvin nailed all the high points. It's great cast, great acting, great cinematography. Just good story all around. Good atmosphere. The highs and the tension, everything just really well done. No complaints.
Yeah. How often before this was there the portrayal of like, how do I say this? Like how do I even say this, bro? Shit. Like how humans become more like monsters than the actual monsters. Like,
well,
was that like already a pretty common theme in zombies stuff at the time, or?
Yeah, not like this though. I think again, there's another reason why. And that's like my second point that I was going to go to. So that's cool that we're melding here. But like George A. Romero movies were always like, they were so brilliant because they're not just about zombies. They're more, they're deeper than that. They have like political allegories, they're social allegories. They're about like desperation and like the breakdown of civilization and like all that stuff. So it wasn't really anything new. I just think this movie kind of captured it in a way that was new because it really, really, really sells that like, oh fuck, society has collapsed. Like, there's nobody around. There's that one scene where they're first giving him that little bit of exposition about like what happened. And he's like, what about the government? They're like, there is no government. He's like, there's always a government. What do you mean? There's always like an authority figure to like come in and help. And they're like, no, dude, there isn't.
Nope.
And it's just, it shows how quickly like the breakdown of society like would happen. I think The Last of Us, you haven't played it yet, but the intro to that game, you'll see. I think that game really.
I saw the intro because I had started watching a video game movie,
and in the show too,
yeah.
That really sort of captures that, like, just the collapse of everything very quickly, really well. Yeah. The Walking Dead doesn't really get into that too much because, well, at least the main show and comic don't, because you're just in it. But I
think Fear the Walking Dead.
You tried to.
That was one of the other spin-offs. The first season, it was kind of like showing them getting out of the city and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you guys, I don't know if you guys shit. Dan, I remember you kind of shit on it. The what's the silent movie? The John Krasinski fucking movie.
Oh, what is
it called?
Be Quiet or some shit. I can't remember.
Yes, Be Quiet.
Be Quiet. Yeah.
Let's just call it Be Quiet. I don't think that's
not it. Oh no, it's right. It is. Oh, Quiet Place. A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Be Quiet was like a game.
A Quiet Place Day One. Remember? So I think they did a good job of kind of showing how quickly the shit hits the fan. It wasn't zombies, but it was aliens taking over.
Be Quiet.
It's kind of the same premise.
Is a movie, just to be fair. So, but yeah, anyway, no, it does. I just think it does it better than like a lot of other things. Train to Busan also does it really well. But like, again, they all pull inspiration, I think, from this movie. Anything that came after this is directly inspired by this movie. But one of my favorite things about this movie, and I think what makes it so special, is that it's not just a zombie movie. You touched on it a little bit. It's more than just the infection. It's about like people and like grief, survival, loneliness, morality. And like, it's all baked into this story that is driven by an infection. They're not really zombies in this movie. They're just rage infected human beings. They're not like dead and reborn, like typical zombies are. In fact, Alex Garland,
they got hit with that Jacob's Ladder fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
But the outbreak in this movie isn't the focus. It's almost just background noise. The story is about emotional survival. Jim wakes up in a world that is already lost, not one that is collapsing, and it creates a different mood. Then you get scenes like, you know, when he goes to see his parents and they're dead, and the note of like, we left you sleeping and now we're sleeping with you. Like, don't wake up. I'm actually getting a little,
that shit was crazy,
choked up thinking about it.
Don't wake up. I was like, wow.
Scenes with Frank and Hannah and showing their bond as father and daughter, and like the quiet moments of like reprieve in the movie where they're like, especially the supermarket scene. I think it's one of the best scenes in the movie, where there's just like a brief moment of fun and joy and normalcy. Them sort of out in the field with the horses. Again, the horses. The
horse scene was great. Yeah.
Very similar to the iconic scene from The Last of Us where Ellie sees giraffes for the first time. Oh, I'm gonna get choked up thinking about that too. Fuck. So yeah, there's a lot of actual like beauty in this movie within the like surrounded by brutality and stuff, and it gives the movie a lot of layers. I would say it's a post-apocalyptic like character study, not just like a horror movie.
For sure.
Which I really liked. And then, you know, the movie, speaking to it not being like a zombie movie, just it like transforms almost like midway through. The whole third act is like completely not a zombie movie at all.
There's only one zombie and he's on a fucking chain.
Right. So
I thought that was pretty smart, by the way. The general guy seeing how long it takes for the zombies to starve, to see how long they could go, trying to prepare for some type of future. I thought that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
And I like the idea too that we don't know for sure that the entire world actually succumbed to this virus, or if it was just the fucking
London,
Europe
England,
quarantined. Yeah, like
well,
we don't know for sure. They kind of left it open-ended.
There's the really iconic scene when they get to the camp, basically, with the general, and there's you see the trail of the plane flying overhead, and so it alludes heavily to the fact that like this is isolated.
Right, it does, yeah.
But that doesn't give you hope. I feel like that gives you more almost like the opposite effect. Because like, oh fuck, like we're kind of on our own here. I don't know. That's kind of how it always made me feel watching it over the years. But the other thing that, you know, obviously this is Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, which made this really a game changer. Alex Garland is a brilliant writer. He's done so many good things at this point in his life. I don't think this dude misses. We've talked about Civil War.
People say Danny Boyle doesn't miss.
I was just going to get to that. Danny Boyle, during this movie, this was the height of this was like the peak of his weird like punk rock sort of brilliance that he was doing movies. This is like post him doing what is it, Train Spotting, and what were some of the movies before this? I can't remember, but he was like really like a staple at this point. The Beach was a movie he did before this. He had done the Iggy Pop Lust for Life video. So he was like a Shallow Grave was another great movie of his back then before this. So he was like, this combination like really was just never going to fail. But I think what really transforms this movie is the soundtrack by John Murphy.
It's good.
There are some songs or some of the music in this movie that are like iconic now because of how they were used in the movie. And I've always loved the the soundtrack to this. John Murphy, I'm pretty sure if it's the same John Murphy, which I do believe it is. Yes, it is. He's the one who's doing the score for the Superman film coming out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's a fun little coincidence. I hadn't put that together. But yeah, so like we said, the zombie genre was pretty much dead in the 90s, pun intended. And this movie didn't just revive it, it like reshaped it. You know, like pre 28 Days Later, zombies were sort of like a punchline. Like the last big zombie movie I think prior to this was probably like Return of the Living Dead and like some of Romero's other earlier work. Yeah, Return of the Living Dead is great, but it's so like
funny. That shit is like a comedy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But after 28 Days Later, there was this huge resurgence of zombie stuff across movies, TVs, games. Just some of the things I mentioned, I ran some off in the beginning, but just to go through a couple more that came out after this, and you could see direct influences. You know, Shaun of the Dead, probably not a direct influence from this, but I'm sure there's certain things. In fact, there is certain things, like he wakes up the next day and like the world has collapsed.
Yeah.
You got Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Yeah. Resident Evil.
That's funny.
Walking Dead that came out, the Last of Us games, like there's just so many things. And then so let's talk about like the third act pretty much, because that's where the movie like really kind of changes and really just sells the fact that this isn't a zombie movie. So they end up responding to a like a radio call about a
it's always a trap,
a safe camp or whatever. And it's the military led by this guy. And
who was that guy, by the way? He's been in a lot of stuff, but I just couldn't think of one thing he'd been in.
Christopher Eccleston is his name. Major Henry West, he plays in this movie. He was like Malekith in Thor, The Dark World.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
he's been a bunch of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been in a lot
Great
of shit.
actor. And in this movie, like absolutely destroys like the villain role. But this movie basically becomes a political allegory framed around this camp. So it turns out that these military guys, they're just trying to lure people in, specifically women, to just be like fucking sex slaves, essentially. And yeah, they're studying like how the infected work and like, do they starve and all this shit. But it's like, that's their goal. And so now the movie just like completely shifts to just like, I don't even know what, like it's still a thriller and stuff like that, but it's certainly not a zombie movie anymore.
Right.
But go ahead.
I mean, it shows the dynamic of the human nature. It is that Jekyll and Hyde feel. I mean, humans can just as easily be the monsters, like Marvin said. It's that.
Yeah.
That comparison.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's like really at the core of what makes a good zombie movie, I think, and really any post-apocalyptic movie. Like it shows the breakdown of morality itself, like how humans are just sort of like, I wouldn't say immoral people. Like we're not immoral by nature, I don't think, but it just shows how under the right circumstances, everything breaks down, not just society and government and like institutions, but like your actual fucking psychology.
Well, I mean, it's spoken in basically what you want to call him. The first act, she tells him, she's like, I wouldn't save you. I would kill you in a heartbeat, which, is a big scene, come to find out later. But she says the only thing that matters is surviving. That's literally all there is, just surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, and she later changes her framing, and that's like kind of the moral of the story, is that you don't want to lose your humanity in times of great struggle or panic or whatever. But how this movie later functions as a political allegory, it uses like fear as a contagion, like media panic and mass violence, which we see play out in our real lives, especially during like the COVID stuff a couple years ago. In this movie, like the rage is the virus. It spreads instantly, violently. There's no incubation period. There's no warning. It's just boom, I'm infected. The scene with
seconds.
The scene with when what's his name turns Brendan Gleeson. Yeah. Oh my god, that movie.
His character.
It's such a heartbreaking like moment. It's just like
it was, bro. It was so silly.
It's so bad. He's just like says to his daughter, "I love you very much." She's like, "What?" And then it's just he starts freaking the fuck out.
Knew, oh man.
It's that moment in movies that out of all the movies I've ever seen in my life, that moment, the blood just in his eye sticks with me so much. It's so depressing and sad.
Yeah.
That's what happens. But yeah, this allegory is like, you know, I think it's key that the zombies aren't zombies. They're not undead. They're humans, but stripped of empathy, driven by like just blind fucking irrational rage. Danny Boyle has said he doesn't even consider this a zombie movie because of this fact. He says it's a metaphor for how media and political extremism and hatred sort of spread like wildfire. So interesting that the movie is considered one of the best zombie movies ever made, but it is not, by the director's own admission, not in fact a zombie movie. I don't know that I agree with him, but
yeah, yes. I mean, I guess they don't reanimate. That's true.
In the traditional sense, it's not a zombie film for sure.
Yeah.
So the military compound that we are hanging out in the last act of the movie it represents like institutional decay, and it's a callback to the beginning of the movie where he's like, what about the government? What about the police? And they're like, dude, that doesn't exist anymore. And this portion of the movie sort of, you know, really kind of drives that home. Major West sort of represents like the illusion of order, right? He's supposed to be like a savior in a sense, like because there's that moment when the military shows up and you're like, oh fuck, cool, they're safe. Nope. Like that's I think such a brilliant like turn of events that, you know, back then it was like kind of shocking. It's like, oh fuck,
you are your last and only line of self-defense. Nobody's coming to save you,
right? But yeah, he's just, I don't know, it's just interesting that like there's that moment of like we're that's it, we have a future, we're gonna get out of this, and then he's just like a rebranded version of the zombies in a sense, just without the infection. And, you know, of course, there's themes of like authoritarianism and women and people as resources and all that good stuff. But really the erosion of power structures and how power structures exploit disasters and things like that. I think those are all like key themes explored in that latter half of the movie.
Yep.
And it takes an already really great movie and then I think just kind of pushes it over the edge. Another interesting fact about this movie, it was actually filmed during or very close to 9/11. It was actually, I think it was written and shot before 9/11. And the film kind of mirrors like British anxieties over like that institutional failure and privatization and the death of public trust and like all that stuff. There was also something that happened back then in England called the foot and mouth disease or something in England. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. I should have noted. Do you recall that, Dusty?
I'm familiar with the disease, but
it was just something that was like
details of the outbreak. It
was just something that was like spreading in like animals and stuff, I think, but at the time. So I'm sure they were a little bit inspired by that. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is one of my favorite movies I think I've ever seen. You have anything else you want to add, Marvin?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, Dusty, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Great movie. The only cheesy part was when they go through the tunnel and drive over the pile of debris.
Is that your only Dusty gripe?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier, Marvin, it had a budget of like what, $8 or $10 million or whatever. It grossed $82.8 million worldwide on a budget of $8 million. Became one of the most profitable horror films of 2002. And
I saw it in the theater.
I did too, actually, if I remember correctly. I'm almost positive I did.
So how's the sequel then?
I don't remember 28 weeks later, to be honest. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I want to rewatch it because I want to go see 28 years later because I've heard great things about it, so I have to get on that. But But yeah, so we asked the question in the beginning, is this the best zombie film of all time? I personally do think it is, just because of its contribution to the genre, its reinvigoration of the genre, the way, just the brilliant filmmaking and the soundtrack, as we said, the acting, like everything in this movie, I think is just honestly pretty perfect. I don't really have a bad thing to say about it. I don't know how many zombie movies that you've seen, Marvin, but where would you rank this in your catalog of zombie movies you have seen?
Just thinking through the zombie movies that I have seen. It probably has to go at the top, just from all the groundbreaking things that happened with this, just the influence that it gave all the other movies and shows.
So you would add that to it?
Yeah.
Okay. Dusty, what about you?
I mean, if is it the best zombie movie ever? I guess we're just talking zombies specifically, or any undead. If it's any undead, then I can't say, because the Deadites.
Okay.
But it's certainly up there. One of the greatest. It is the bar for which all good zombie movies are measured. I will give it that. And definitely up top, it would be on the Mount Everest of zombie movies for sure. So
okay,
is it number one? I'm not. I don't know. I wouldn't say, but it's definitely
up
arguable.
There.
It's in the conversation.
Okay. Well, it's got a 7.5 on IMDb. I'm going to bump that up. I'm giving this a perfect 10. I think it's a perfect movie. What about you, Marvin?
I'm just thinking if there's anything that I didn't like about this. I don't think there's anything that I would have changed or anything. I don't really have any gripes with this. So, yeah, it's a perfect one.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a 10 for you then.
Now give it a 9.
Wow. This is the first perfect from Dusty, I think.
Nah, it's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
Folks,
No.
Dusty
Some of the other
won't
Make
give
Marvin
10s.
wants.
9 is his perfect,
Yeah.
just so we're aware.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
There's
That's
always
big.
room for a little improvement.
Perfects across the board. That is huge.
Pretty sure he gave Beverly Hills Cop a 9.
I did.
Oh,
Among
okay.
some other, I think there's some other ones. I wish we had tracked
Jaws
it.
probably.
That's Dusty's job. Dusty's got to go through and aggregate all the
I need
ratings.
to. Yeah.
That would be good, actually.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Perfect
I
across
bet
the
I
board.
give the highest average.
No, I think I
I
might.
bet I do.
You think you do? Maybe you do.
I think I do. Because there's some that you guys don't like, and I'm like,
That's true. But there you have it, folks. There's our thoughts on 28 Days Later. There's Marvin's thoughts seeing it for the first time. Is it the best zombie movie of all time? Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. We do this once a week, so consider subscribing if you have not done so already. Leave a like and do all that cool shit. If you head on over to our website, harshlanguage.tv, you can see all of our links, including our Discord, which is free to join. We post news and trailers and like our schedule, so you can watch along with us. So consider joining there. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. If you want to see more of our content, click the links that are going to be on the screen here in a second. But otherwise, we will catch you next week. Thanks for hanging with us.
see ya.
All stuff.